the complete story of World War I, from beginning to end. It was called the War to End All Wars. Over 65 million men were mobilized. More than 20 million were killed or wounded. Empires collapsed. The world changed forever. But how did it start? And how did it become one of the deadliest conflicts in human history? This is the full story of World War I, from beginning to end. Europe before the war, the powder keg. To understand why World War I happened, we have to go back, not just years, but decades. In the late 1800s and early 1900s, Europe was a tense, competitive arena of empires. There were 6 major powers. Britain, the largest empire on Earth, with colonies spanning the globe and a dominant navy. France, a proud nation, still bitter over its defeat in the Franco-Prussian War of 1870. Germany, newly unified in 1871, growing rapidly in power, industry, and ambition. Austria-Hungary, a multi-ethnic empire struggling to control nationalist movements. Russia, vast, conservative, and backward, but powerful and ambitious. The Ottoman Empire, once mighty, now called the sick man of Europe. Everyone feared and distrusted everyone else, so they made alliances, defensive pacts, promises that would bind them together and pull them into catastrophe. Triple Entente, France, Britain, Russia. Triple Alliance, Germany, Austria, Hungary, Italy, though Italy would switch sides later. Nationalism was rising. Countries were obsessed with power. Imperial rivalries boiled overseas. And militarism, the glorification of military power, was everywhere. Europe was armed, proud, and ready for war. All it needed was a spark. The spark, the assassination of French Ferdinand, June 28, 1914. Sarajevo, Bosnia, a region recently annexed by Austria-Hungary. Archduke Franz Ferdinand, heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, is visiting the city with his wife Sophie. A group of Serbian nationalists from a secret organization known as the Black Hand are waiting. The first attempt fails. A bomb bounces off the Archduke's car. Waiting there by chance? Gavrilo Princip, a 19-year-old assassin. He steps forward, 2 gunshots. Franz Ferdinand and Sophie are dead. Austria-Hungary blames Serbia, but Serbia has Russian backing. Austria consults its ally, Germany, and Germany issues the infamous blank check, unconditional support. Austria sends an ultimatum to Serbia, harsh, humiliating terms. Serbia agrees to most, but not all. Austria declares war. The chain reaction begins. The dominoes fall, alliances trigger global war. July 28, 1914, Austria-Hungary declares war on Serbia. Russia mobilizes to defend Serbia. Germany declares war on Russia. France is allied with Russia. Germany declares war on France. Germany invades Belgium to get to France. Britain, which had guaranteed Belgian neutrality, declares war on Germany. In just over a week, all the major powers of Europe are at war. The Central Powers: Germany, Austria-Hungary, Ottoman Empire, later Bulgaria. The Allied powers: France, Britain, Russia, later joined by Italy, Japan, the United States, and others. The war spreads beyond Europe, to Africa, Asia, the Middle East. It becomes truly global. The Western Front, trench warfare and stalemate. Germany launches the Schlieffen Plan, a strategy to quickly knock out France by sweeping through Belgium, then turning to fight Russia. But Belgium resists, Britain joins, and the French hold the line at the Battle of the Marne. By late 1914, both sides dig in. Trenches stretch from the North Sea to Switzerland. The Western Front becomes a nightmare. Mud rats, gas machine guns. Men live underground, attack over the top, and die in no man's land. Battles like Verdun and the Somme claim millions. At the Somme, on just the first day, 60,000 British soldiers fall. Despite massive casualties, the front barely moves. It's a war of attrition, of grinding industrial slaughter. The Eastern and other fronts, a wider war. In the East, Germany and Austria fight Russia. The battles are more mobile, but just as brutal. At Tannenberg, the Germans crush the Russians, but the Eastern Front drains both sides. In the Balkans, Serbia fights valiantly but falls. In the Middle East, the Ottoman Empire battles British and Arab forces. T.E. Lawrence of Arabia, helps lead an Arab revolt. Italy, once part of the Triple Alliance, switches sides in 1915 to join the Allies, lured by promises of land. And in Asia, Japan seizes German territories in China and the Pacific. The war at sea and in the air. Britain's Royal Navy blockades Germany, cutting off supplies. Germany responds with U-boats, submarines, sinking ships indiscriminately, including civilian vessels. In 1915, a German U-boat sinks the Lusitania, killing nearly 1,200, including Americans. Outrage grows. Meanwhile, the skies become battlefields. Airplanes are new, primitive, and deadly. Aces like the Red Baron become legends. But it's the civilians who suffer. Starvation bombings, influenza, the world is breaking. The United States enters. The tide turns. In 1917, Germany resumes unrestricted submarine warfare, even against neutral ships. They're desperate then in the Zimmermann telegram. Germany secretly offers Mexico U.S. territory if they join the war. Britain intercepts and shows the U.S. it's the final straw. April 6, 1917, the United States declares war on Germany. American troops and fresh, well-supplied, begin arriving in Europe. Morale shifts, the balance tips. Revolution in Russia, a nation exits. Meanwhile, Russia collapses. 1917, the February Revolution overthrows Tsar Nicholas II. A provisional government takes over, but the people want peace. In October, the Bolsheviks, led by Lenin, seize power. They sign the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk with Germany, ending the war in the east. Germany now throws everything at the Western Front. The endgame, 1918. Germany launches a massive spring offensive in 1918, their last shot before U.S. forces arrive in full. They gain ground, but it's too little, too late. The Allies counterattack. American troops surge in. Germany is pushed back. At home, revolution brews, the Kaiser abdicates. Austria-Hungary collapses. The Ottoman Empire surrenders. On November 11, 1918 at 11:00 a.m., an armistice is signed. The guns finally fall silent. The aftermath, the world rewritten. The war is over, but peace is fragile. At the Paris Peace Conference, the victorious powers dictate terms. The Treaty of Versailles is brutal to Germany. Full blame for the war, massive reparations, lost territory. A humiliated military Germany is furious. The seeds of World War II are planted. Austria-Hungary and the Ottoman Empire are dismantled. New nations appear. Poland, Czechoslovakia, Yugoslavia, and more. The League of Nations is formed, meant to prevent another war. It fails. The world is exhausted. Millions dead. Millions more displaced, wounded, or grieving. And in 1918-1919, the Spanish flu kills more than the war did. World War I didn't end war. It ended an era and gave birth to a darker one. It showed us how fragile civilization really is, how quickly alliances, nationalism, and pride can turn into carnage. It didn't make the world safe for democracy. If we forget how it started, how it escalated, and how it ended, we risk doing it all again. Thanks for watching. If you made it this far, you're part of a rare few who care about the truth of our past. Like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments, what part of WWI shocks you most?